And we're off.
There we go.
Awesome. Well, we've got a couple of discussion points tonight. The first one is actually talking about TeamSpeak 3 and our current service provider, which, as you guys know, we've been having off and on issues with that service provider. So we've actually got. Sorry, what was that?
I was going to say service is a loose term.
So we've actually got Leroy, who has come up with a potential solution and some ideas, but Leroy's got to get going pretty soon, so I wanted to toss it over to Leroy with his ideas and potential pitch, and then we can discuss it and then move on from there and make decisions.
Okay, well, basically, I have a TeamSpeak server up and running already. I registered a few free domains. There was a couple that were pretty simplistic. I think the best one was something like g3.no-ip.org or something.
Yeah, that was a good looking one.
Anyway, yeah, I actually have a domain name, but that's much harder to type. It has special characters in it. But that should work pretty well. If you want to go ahead and test it out for yourself and let me know, that's the address in chat there.
And so we don't really have much by way of testing or numbers or knowledge quite yet on the capacity of the server, right?
Yeah, I haven't had more than like 4 or 5 people on it once, but we had no problems at that point.
So at this point, discussions on I think at this point we're all pretty frustrated with Truxco and their service. I think we all could say that. But is there any discussion on whether or not or questions for Leroy about what it would look like to potentially move over there?
Well, one thing I will say outrightly is I should make it clear this is being hosted on our home internet, which is it's a fiber connection. But I mean, obviously, if we lose our internet or our power goes out, then the server will become unavailable. But I mean, that's no different from any other.
Yeah, at this juncture, I would say there's no more risk to moving to your server, Nick, than there is to just staying on our current server.
Yeah, the upside to it being set up like this is I'm literally looking at the server box from where I'm sitting. So if something's wrong or not working, I can get to it no problem.
That's great.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, obvious concerns are, I mean, you'd still just be volunteering, and so you wouldn't really be under any obligation to be, you're not our IT guy, You're right. I want to put you in that position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean by that. There is kind of the issue too of like, this is just my parents' internet, so if they decide that they want to downgrade their internet or something, it's kind of gonna go up in the air.
Well, we wouldn't need to make another decision after that.
It's definitely, I mean, regardless, it's worth considering at least as a backup server for when we are having issues like this. I think keeping it on our roster and whatever.
Yeah, I have no problem either way. If we say, hey, we want to stay with Truxco, we can stay with Truxco through our contract with them, which ends in October, which our contract paying, it's not that much. Right now it's at $12 a month is what we pay for.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty cheap, and it's a good thing to have professional dedicated hosting. So, I mean, I don't know if you'd really want to consider my server as a primary, but I'm open to the idea. and I'd be more than willing to try to work with any issues that come up.
The biggest issue that I have, just as the server owner and admin over on our current server on TrucksGo, is just that we've got all of our icons, all of our customization. It's already built into the server over there, so we would have to copy and paste everything over, which we're going to have to do whether or not we go with Nix or we choose to go in a different direction once our contract is up with TrucksGo. That change will just have to happen regardless of what server happens. We'll have to port everyone's rooms over, etc. So that's going to have to happen either way, whether or not we go to Nix or somewhere else. As soon as we leave TrucksGo, we got to do that anyway. So if that's something that we got to do down the road or now, either way, that's just something that we got to make a decision whether or not we want to tackle that now or not. That's my only stipulation of, hey, that there would be changes on the server, and so it may look different for a couple days before we get everything over and in the proper situation as to what it was on the old server.
Right, and I have no problems giving, like, everyone here, I mean, I know the people here generally, I see all of you on a lot, so I have no issues giving all of you, like, administrative access and stuff, so you can set everything up however you want. I have channels on there, but how the way I have things is insignificant, you know, it's inconsequential, doesn't matter. You can change everything, I don't care.
And what I would want to do, Nick, and we've talked about this in the past, is whatever the going rate is that we would be paying for another dedicated server, I would want to do that for anybody who would want to offer an in-house service. We do that for anybody who offers services or who we do business with for any reason whatsoever. So that's not an issue. It's not like we're taking a service for free, but we do want to make sure that it's our home. So if we chose to go over to the g3.noip.org, then if that's what we're calling home, we just need to make sure that that's a safe spot and that's where everybody can log on and do things G3 style. So the only conflict I think that could potentially arise would be like the situation between Phil and Tom. That can be a hairy predicament for you just because they're both family members of yours. But other than that, I don't see many other issues that could potentially be awkward.
Yeah, I just figure neither of them really need to have the power to ban anyone anyway, probably, so.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's a G3 server that we're calling home, then we've got to be able, as a leadership team, be able to call the shots as to who has banning
That's
privilege.
true. All right, I'll concede that, but however, I don't know. Well, in the case of Phil, I don't really see him taking a position like that anyway, because unless he had a more stable work situation where he was at home more, you know. I mean,
Right.
as for Tom, you know, I don't know what to say. Whatever. I'll leave that on you.
Right on.
I've spoken to both of them. They seem to be pretty civil right now, as long as they're not thrown into the same room together unwillingly.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna fight like kids or anything, but Phil was definitely like, yeah, I'm not gonna play with them for a while or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that just sounds like a good idea.
Someone is using their high wisdom roll.
There you go. Good. All right. Well, it sounds like there's discussion. I don't hear anybody other than myself saying, yes, we should move, no, we should not. Anybody else have any other thoughts, yay or nay?
Yay. That's all I have to say.
I just want to reiterate that again.
My gut says no, but it's if it's that or no server, like if we're that fed up with TrucksGo, then yeah. I mean, I understand why we're doing it.
Well, to that beat too, I can understand the withdrawals, and if you decide not to, I would just say keep it in mind, you know, as a backup. It's not a hard address to remember. If the other one goes down, mine could be working, you never know. It's good to have a backup plan.
That actually would be my just as I think about it out loud, that it'd be a backup.
Yeah, and I'm down for that too, either way.
Yeah, I think I will say one thing about not even on behalf of Truxco. I mean, they're not paying me, so I have no interest in speaking on their behalf. I will say the service has actually gotten better from them. We've had less disconnects over the summer than what we had in the spring. And then on top of that, we're actually on a backup server right now that they provided for us due to our main server being down. So whether or not we move or not, like I said, that's kind of up to us. But if we do move, I'd like it to be a more permanent position so people know where to sign on, where to call their home for voice chat for G3 purposes. And if we decide not to move, then okay, let's make that decision and say, hey, we're sticking it out with Truxco, and whenever stuff goes down, then we'll go over either the G3.no IP or we'll go over to whatever backup channels that are responding. I think the advantage to having Nick as a backup or as the primary is that it's pretty much always there so long as your internet is there, Nick. I think that's a pretty big advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say at least for like a year foreseeably, it would probably be pretty reliable. Or at least like half a year, I'll say.
Right. So Tim, you had said you were in favor of a backup system. Sammy, you said you were in favor of moving over there as the dedicated home.
I'm in favor of whatever is best for G3. Like, I like having a home to come to whenever I log in, and right now it's kind of confusing. So just as long as we had like a set place to go, if this doesn't work, then we go here. I'm all for that.
Well, the beauty of TeamSpeak is it's got a bookmark system, so just bookmark both servers, and if the primary one's not working, hop on over and whatever, you know. Anyways, I gotta go. I'll be back later.
Right on. I'll send you a message, Nick. But other than that sounds great. Thanks so much for presenting your idea and for being willing to host.
Yep, no problem. Catch you guys later.
User disconnected from your channel.
All right. Second item up for agenda. Actually, now that Nick has left the room, does anybody else have any other feedback on the TeamSpeak server or situation?
Nothing here.
Okay. So then moving on to the next agenda, what I'm hearing, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So this is the first time that Truxco has provided us with a backup. So if we call Truxco our home and then we call G3.noip.org as our backup, is everybody cool with that?
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Okay, so I will shoot Nick a message, and what we'll start doing is we'll start porting some stuff over there. So then that way, should the main server go down, we've got the backup, and the backup looks as much as home as the main server.
Can help with that.
Great. All right, so moving on to agenda point 2. We have got some great work that's coming up for league events. For those of you who are interested in helping out with league events. So we've got some ranked play coming up, some tournaments, and some streaming opportunities that are all up and coming. I'm going to pull up a document here with the sign-up sheet, and I'm going to share that, and let me know if you guys can see the link.
Ooh.
I assume that means you can see the link.
It's pretty.
I can.
Great. So this is the beginning of our Friday Night Fight Night series. It's going to start on 9/25/2015. This is something that I'm hosting, and I'm tapping people on the shoulder to volunteer and to help out with. So this is independent of any of our official League of Legends leadership. So, as it were, Sammy and Tim, neither of you guys have volunteered to take this on. If this is bumping into your calendars or stuff, you should feel no obligation to help out. But if you're interested in helping out, then that's great. But if it's bumping into something else, there's no worries. It's not like, hey, this is not something that I just threw on your calendar and I'm assuming that you're helping out with. So I'm just making it available here. I'm going to post this on the G3 Facebook over the next couple of days and start promoting. This is something that we're going to be doing on Friday nights for September 25th, October 2nd, October 8th, and October 16th. It's going to be called our Friday Night Fight Night. And what's going to happen is each Friday night we're going to host a best of one tournament series starting at 8 p.m. Central Time. And the winners of each tournament, so long as we get the minimum number of committed teams, which we've already got 8 Chinese teams committed from here in the St. Louis region. We've got 4 committed on the West Coast. So that already puts us up to 12. So we just need 4 more teams, and the signups haven't even gone live yet. So I'm confident that we'll hit it. So all the prizes will be sponsored by Riot, and then we're also going to have bonus prizes. So we're running this as a 1-month test basis to do bonus prizes to increase and incentivize players and individuals to come back for more events. So if you read there under the second paragraph, every month we're going to give away bonus prizes to participants in at least the following 4 categories. So whoever attends the most events is going to win a prize, whoever has the most total kills, whoever has the most total wins, and whoever has the most deaths. And if there's a tie, then we'll just come up with a tie-breaking system. We'll throw everybody on a randomizer or something and give away some prizes. So we're trying to create a repeat audience to get us booted up for some regular ranked play. So this starts on 9/25, and I'd love for you guys to read it. And then if you guys have any questions, let me know, or any feedback or any excitement, any thoughts, any comments. Now is the time to share.
This is wonderful. I'm wondering about my ability to get to my contacts up here to throw this up for them in their shop. But we can talk about that a little bit more later.
Yeah, do it. Print it off. Bring it into them. Shoot them an email. Whatever you got to do.
I can do that. I'm also open. Fridays are league community nights, so I am open and willing and able to help out with this and or participate in it if everybody wants to be awesome with me. Not everybody, anybody.
Yeah, that's great. I'm pretty sure everybody wants to be awesome with you, Sammy. So that's great. So this is obviously kicking off some more dedicated league stuff that we're going to be doing on Friday nights. There's going to be another one of these that's going to be coming up. We're also doing Sunday evenings as well. We're still trying to figure out the time and the schedule for this for when we're doing Sundays as well. Sundays is going to basically be the same thing. The time zones may be a little bit different. And the start times may be a little bit different, and we may not cast those. The primary difference between Friday night and Saturday or Sunday is going to be that Sunday is just going to be individual summoners. So we're going to put people into random teams, so you don't need to gather 5 of your friends. If you're just an individual and you want to come and play, then you can hook up, link up, and go play. And we may allow folks to like duo queue, but we wouldn't allow more than that. Other than that, we're just going to randomize people together. So that's going to be coming up, and those are going to be on the Sundays following the Fridays of each. So it'll be Sunday the 27th, Sunday October 4th, Sunday October 10th, and then Sunday October 18th are all days that we're also going to be doing tournaments as well. So those are 2 major things that we're going to start doing over the next month. So that's 8 tournaments that we've got lined up over the next 4 weeks, starting September 25th, running through October 18th. So that should definitely galvanize our league side of our community, and hopefully it gets you guys stoked. It gets me stoked. I'm fired up for it. So I'm excited to be running some more League of Legends stuff. We're going to use this as a test base or as a data gathering time to gather kind of when people play and what people are looking to do, and whether or not we can get any kind of return users coming in from our tournaments and become crossover members into G3 at large. So it may be that at this point in time, depending on how numbers go and how turnout goes over this next month of Friday night fight nights and then Sunday evening tournaments, or Sunday solos is what we're calling them, that we may actually start up some of our G3 in-house league stuff and do some more of our dedicated coaching and counseling and team building like what we did more akin to 2013. So if all of this goes well, then that will be something that we'll start up and boot back up in November of 2015. So that's kind of what's going on in the brain trust. That's what we've been thinking about, praying about, and hoping for. And now we finally got some actual events that we can start testing and working towards.
Love it.
Do you guys have any feedback or suggestions or ideas for actually pulling these things off? We've got a couple of different volunteer needs that we're going to need. I've got Chinese streamers who are covered for each of the tournaments already. I've got 2 streamers who are already lined up for each tournament on a rotationary basis of 6 different streamers who are willing to stream in Chinese. I do need a couple of English streamers who are willing to stream for a couple of nights. So if you guys know anybody or are interested yourselves, it's going to be on a first come, first take basis for who wants to stream it. And then we're also going to be looking for anybody with some graphic arts talents to re-update or to remess with the G3 overlay. So then that way it includes the Dragon Timer and the Baron Timer, which have now since been added since the 2013 season when we had our original overlays done. So those are 3 areas that we're looking for help. One area being the streamers, a second area being UI, and then a third area being tournament administrators. Anybody that wants to help me out on the back end, make sure everybody's getting into their games properly and make sure that the tournament is running smoothly. Those are the 3 areas that we're looking for volunteers. So if you guys can put the word out, but then also be thinking whether you want to volunteer for that or whether or not you know somebody else in G3 who may be ready to step up and take on some leadership and some responsibility to help make G3 a better place. This would be a great place to get people started. This is where Sam started. Back when he joined G3 in 2014, he actually started helping me out with administrative stuff. So if you know somebody that's interested in helping out bridge the gap from player to back-end leadership, then this is where they would start.
I could definitely help out on the administrative end. I have enough free time to do it.
So the free time, most of the time, Sammy, is actually the free time during the tournament. It's not lead up to the tournament. Most tournament administration that we need help with, we need help on the night of.
Yeah, and I could probably do that. Like I'm off at 4 every day, and I have Mondays and Thursdays and Fridays off right now, so I can definitely help in the lead up to and the day of.
Okay, great. All right, any other comments or discussion points or questions on either of those 2 League of Legends events related issues?
That sounds good. Hope it does well. Not sure I have the time or real desire to get back into doing league stuff on a regular basis and the competitive stuff, but sounds good.
Great.
I know I just kind of popped in here like at a bad moment, but Ferrum, if you don't want to get involved in the competitive gameplay, maybe you would be suited to help administratively.
I've done it before, like a lot. I casted quite a bit, so yeah. I'm also gonna try to limit my nights with G3 for IRL reasons, and right now I'm DMing for our Tuesday nights, and then trying to make another night a week kind of a regular for me. But then other than that, to kind of make it a here and there when I can. So
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not looking. Not really looking to get involved in any other stuff. But I appreciate everybody else wanting me to be involved in some way.
Yeah, that's great. And there should be no pressure, right? Like this stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate
happens,
it.
like I said, like there's no pressure. This stuff is going to happen regardless. Like, so the more people who are welcome or who are desiring to jump on board and help out, the merrier. But things will go smoothly, no matter what. So it's always a good time. Good.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes our agenda points. I just had a couple of questions for our game leads, just asking for updates on how things are going. And then we can dismiss and close out our discussion. And then Sammy, if you've got any questions as to how to upload this stuff, let's get our recordings actually uploaded. Because there's no point in recording them if we're not actually uploading them for people who aren't here.
Right.
So, questions for either of you. Tim, first off, as PC guy, how are things going touching base with game leads? Have you been able to keep up with our game leads? Where are things at? How are things going?
I did for a while. I think I am getting into rhythm with work stuff, and so I haven't been as diligent online. I mean, I've just been playing like Diablo, I guess. But other than that, I think, I've been seeing consistency in some areas and some are not. I've been working with Bucks a little bit more. Obviously, if I'm doing DM, I'm trying to work to help him get that thing set up on Tuesday nights. And I guess I haven't done anything intentional with either of the Sam or Sammy, but can definitely make that a priority this week.
Okay. Well, text me a time when you want to meet and get together this week, and let's chat either via Skype or phone or TeamSpeak, whatever's convenient for you. And that'll be good for us to touch base. And then I would also say make sure you're reaching out to Tom, who's our Civ 4 or Civ 5 and Civ 4 community lead. He's trying to get a time nailed down so we can be consistently playing. He's putting in a lot of effort, and he's asking around. And so I know he could use both some encouragement, but then also potentially some ideas as to how to either recruit and to bring in some new blood, or how to just make events consistent for a couple of folks to start showing up and then build from there.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy, how are things going with you and with the league community? Give me a report, give me a rundown.
Well, it's been kind of awesome, to be completely honest with you. We had some really good weeks. I know I haven't been keeping you updated. I've been a little bit busy, and I've told you a little bit about that, so that's been a thing. But on the league front, we're doing pretty good. There are 2 different teams right now that I'm hosting. One for funsies and one for not funsies. I'm hoping to get one team ready and willing and able to pursue G3 tournaments. Hopefully, we'll see. I know that Paul would like to cast some G3 tournaments, so that's something that I will direct him to you for. I know Omni would be more than thrilled to cast again to get his resume up and running. And yeah, no, we had some good teams this week. So yeah.
Okay, great. Well, let's make sure that we're getting back on those emails. Folks, that's something that's really, really important to be able to track just over time about how the community is doing, who's showing up for community nights. It's really not, I don't think, that much that we're asking out of our game leads and PC leads for when we're meeting together with different folks, just to email in, so that way we've actually got a communication flow going of what's going on and what's happening in the community. We can't really have a rhythm or get a pulse of what's going on if there's only one way of communication, and that one way of communication is being on TeamSpeak playing games together. If that's the only time that we're able to actually chat about what's going on, then we're not really going to know what's going on or be able to proactively address issues or proactively and creatively address ideas that folks have for things. So let's make sure just every week that we're getting those emails back into that rhythm. You guys both did a good job of that week 1 when I was on vacation, but that's both dropped off since then, and that's been about a month now. So let's get back into that rhythm. Just to sending one email, it can even just be a paragraph, just saying, hey, how are things going this week with your respective game or your respective department?
Sounds good.
Okay, other than that, other questions that I had, just one other question for the 2 of you guys, which was pretty much, what do you think the general mood is since the school season has started up here over the last week to week and a half. Do you feel like more people are open and looking to game? Do you feel like people are stressed out and so they're coming on to play more? Do you feel like people are coming on to play less because of school and work and other commitments? What do you guys feel like is going on with the community?
I've seen influx with some people, and some people haven't been on as much, and I completely respect that. I know people have kids, people have life, they have school to go back to, they have part-time school to go back to. So I'm not going to hold that against anybody. It's a busy time of year for everybody, but I've seen some new faces for at least League of Legends, which has been nice to see. Maybe some old faces. I don't know. I don't know everybody yet, but we lost some and we gained some.
Yeah, we used to have a saying in 2013, 2014 that we would keep half of the people, or half of the people who would email for a tryout would show up, half of the people who showed up would stick around, and then half of the people who stuck around would make it through a team in 1 month. And we don't have nearly the kind of feedback or the kind of data that what we did have in 2013 and 2014, just because we don't have a formalized application system right now, and we don't have a formalized tryout night to bring in new players, which is something that we're going to bring up at the next leadership meeting. Get some more formal structure going for new players and for new G3 members, because there's a lot of folks who are joining the community and they're not quite sure what they're signing up for, and we're not doing a good job of educating folks who and what we're about right now.
Yeah. I mean, I would. I mean, we've already clarified it before, so I shouldn't even need this. But we're not supposed to be letting anyone in that hasn't gone through the full process, right? Into the TeamSpeak server.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying. There is no full process right now.
Yeah, we just don't do it. I mean, we probably have it established, but we just.
So basically, only people who have come on over the last year since we've started up the new TeamSpeak server, since the new TeamSpeak server went live, we've had an application process attached to it, whether that was with Engine or whether that was through a Google Doc, or whether that was through the TeamSpeak application that we had available. So any of those three methods, so then that way we just had a head count, we had numbers of who was coming through and who was coming on. And one of the ways that we did that was through the tag system on TeamSpeak, which not everybody knows. But it was a way to keep head track or head count of who was involved in what games and what frequency they were playing. So that was one way to get around folks filling out all sorts of paperwork. But I think, and this is not the place for the discussion of it, but I think we'll probably go back to a more formalized system. So that's something that we're going to talk about next week a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, I would agree. Just putting it that way, just so it's not that it's even. We need to be hard asses about it, but just so we have, like you're saying, some kind of feedback is one way. I would also say accountability, maybe. All those things kind of wrapped into one. Because, I'd be the first one to admit that I was, I would, buddies or whoever, I would rather get them exposed to G3, but that's not always helpful for the community, just to have people kind of, it's a free server, but they wouldn't always know kind of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of that's on us. So we'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right.
That's good. So any other thoughts, Sam? Sammy gave a little bit of feedback just about how she thought the community was doing over the last 12 to 14, 10 days or so. Do you have any thoughts just since school year started?
Are you asking Sammy or me?
You. Sammy already gave her input.
Oh, yeah. I mean, personally, I came into it like a lot of gusto, and I think I communicated with you at some point. It was an informal conversation that I got really bummed when people just didn't react to all of my combination of encouragement and structure, and so I think I just probably petered off because I I was like, well, okay, well, I'll just hit my ball and go home, which is not like the best thing. I'm not like trying to confess, sins to all you guys, but I think I definitely got like frustrated and just said, okay, well, I'll just do whatever I want to do. Like if it's not being received, people aren't like getting with the program, I guess. So I would say my impression is like more negative. I see positive things other people are doing, and I'm like really happy for it. But I think the things that I think I put energy or effort into, like it didn't work out. So I probably have more of a negative. I think Sammy is more realistic. I'm just like, oh, well, this sucked because it didn't happen the way I wanted it to. So that's where I'm coming from.
Right on. Yeah, whenever anything happens like that, right? Like whenever there's a response that we're not sure about, that's an opportunity to say, okay, why? And then go, okay, what can we learn from this? Like, for instance, one thing that I'm seeing just across the spectrum of demographics is that HOTS is not taking off as fast as they thought it would when it went public.
Yeah.
It has really petered off. They actually had a more active community during their closed beta.
Yeah.
And then they hit their peak when they actually had to pay to enter the beta.
Yeah.
So we're actually seeing a considerable drop off in players in HOTS, not just in our community, but actually globally.
Right.
And we're actually seeing a massive spike in Hearthstone users. So.
Oh, well, yeah, because Grand Tournament dropped, and doesn't that always happen? Just around.
It does, but it looks like that Blizzard is now committing more of their community focus towards Hearthstone. So they just announced a partnership where there's going to be collegiate Hearthstone that's played in teams and 3v3 scenarios.
Which is really only started because it was based around, is the 3v3, the team base is relatively new, if that's correct.
Yeah, it is. It is. So they're throwing a lot more weight behind Hearthstone than there are other projects and other programs. It's going incredibly well. So, just like what Blizzard's got to do, we got to do the same thing. Okay, what's working, what's not working, and then dump our time and our energy into things that are working. I think it's a great call for you to step up and take leadership of the D&D group for DMing for Tuesdays. I think that's awesome. And my wife is telling me in my ear that it's apparently Wednesdays this week. I'm sorry.
It is Wednesdays this week. I said Tuesdays.
I don't know.
We established Tuesdays, but it is Wednesday this week.
That's great. And anything you guys can do to get Mrs. D gaming, I'm a fan of.
You're welcome.
That's right. You'll all be getting Christmas cards in the mail.
All right.
There'll be a picture of Amy at the desk with the D&D book. All right, good. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the meeting, and then we'll adjourn. And then next week we're going to talk a little bit more about recruiting and formally getting folks back into a G3 data gathering system, as it were.